one to the three. I like good and I like good trees. Smoke so much weed you wouldn't believe, and I get more.
I realized something while recording this for the third time, literally after deleting the video I just uploaded, is that I can't use the same audio plugins and the same settings for music that I use for YouTube. It just doesn't work. It's the other way around, but it doesn't work. But here are INTJs, and here is why I feel the way about them that I do. INTJs are a very interesting one because when I talk about INTJs, the one thing that comes to mind, other than them being absolutely dead inside, is their NI. Like, I feel like what I'm gonna say next is stupid, but I feel like INTJs use their NI more than INFJs do, actually, weirdly enough. They're more absolute about their NI. INFJs, they have too much conflicting with their NI. They have their FE, they have their TI, and I don't feel like it flows as well into feeding the NI for being the NI as much as like the TE and FI do. I feel like that's just a better combination for using NI, and the same way goes for like ISTPs. I feel like what is it for ISTPs? SEFI? Yeah, SEFI, they don't really feed the TI as good as the NESI. Just saying. But that's a whole video for itself. But what I really want to talk about here when it comes to INTJs, is their NI and how I struggle. I really struggle to sympathize, empathize, or understand NI. It's just, for me, for so long, for as long as we've had human history, it took us an embarrassing amount to really discover and start using coffee. Coffee, our change from alcohol, which was a depressant, to coffee, which is a stimulant, took so long, and it helped boost society. It helps boost everything exponentially, so much more. Just imagine they had more NE. Imagine society had more NE and everyone was looking a little bit more around the corners. We would have found coffee faster, and I don't think people understand this quite, but 1 year now, like, you can experience so much now in a year than you ever could 1,000 years ago. Like, 1 year now is like 1,000 times more worth a year ago, and you can see this. Maybe this pattern will repeat itself in the future. Like, imagine 1,000 years. 1,000 now, your year is 1,000 times less. Why? Just because there aren't enough NE DOMs or any auxiliaries that are around, looking around the corners to see what's the next big revolutionary crazy idea of something that nobody thought, something that you walk around everywhere, in your house, in your home, maybe outside, that's around you everywhere, and we just haven't quite managed to utilize it. We haven't quite figured that thing out, and it's I live with the feeling of, in a way, responsibility to find these things, and it's scary to me. It's scary, the thought of just these things existing and us being held back so much by our lack of knowledge of it is so scary to me. And I don't understand how NI DOMs can be NI DOMs, filtering all these patterns to just mere core patterns. The filtering that an eye does, the focusing that an eye does, I don't understand, just personally, how that can be. How can you live knowing that there are so many other possibilities? There are so many, possibilities, and yet focus on one of them. Just completely like that. It is... It sounds crazy to me. It sounds really crazy to me, honestly. Like, how? Just how? Really? And I'm gonna be in an interview with an INTJ today, so be for the lookout for that, because it'll be an interesting conversation. That'll be in 3 hours from now. I had to re-upload this video, INTJs, other for being known for being dead inside, they're known for being masterminds. And it just comes off as silly to us INTPs. Like, we have that high NA, and it's like, we're fucking trolls. That's really what it is, And for when it comes to our plans, we don't have any real long term plans. It's just like, yeah, let's just see what's up, And INT just being like, oh, I'm gonna become this and that. I'm gonna do this and that, and in 5 years, I'm gonna buy out your company. It's just it's a bit too much for us. It's a big difference. It's like, really, dude. It's like, And one thing when it comes to superiority between INTJs and INTPs, we INTPs, we know we're the best because we've seen every possible reality, and we know that we can win in each one of them, and also lose in each one of them in the same. That's why we love ourselves the most and hate ourselves the most. But INTJs, they take the L here because the only reason they think they're superior is because they have this one pattern-focused agenda infested NI, which makes them think they're the best because there's only one reality in which they only win, and that's a big L for INTJs. And INTJs and ENTJs, God, with their God conflicts, it's like, what the actual fuck, dude? TE just is, as T, Dom C auxiliaries, you're really not as smart as you think you are. Why? Well, because all what you're doing is you're collecting a bunch of ideas. You're going around filtering through your FI. It's like, all right, that's cool, but to really understand something, you have to break it down. You have to break every part of it down to the simplest of axioms, and then once you've broken like the house, like Lego, you have to see every possible application of every possible part of it to really understand it, to really know what's up, and you have to do that to yourself, But you don't even know who the fuck you are, so yeah, that's a bit that's a slight problem for you, INTJs and ENTJs. It's like, you're just not as good as us. You're 100% better than INFPs. I'll give you that. And you're better than the other types, and like, you're a thinking type at the end of the day, and so we appreciate you for that. But you still take L's, and you take dubs too. Let's not be too harsh on INTJs here. And it can be enjoyable to really have a conversation with the INTJs. It can be fun. It can be, whenever we find some interesting ideas. Although INTJs, Newton, it took 2 fucking decades till he published his ideas, and we INTPs just spouting our ideas to everyone else like that. It helps us accelerate our ideas a lot faster than INTJs ever really would. Although INTJs have their own strengths when it comes to the department of developing ideas, INTJs are more likely to focus in on these ideas and are more likely to go in with a plan to actually do these ideas and execute on them, and etc. But who gives a shit? They do, And the last thing I want to mention about INTJs is their detachment style. INTPs, INTJs are both very much detached people, but INTPs are detached because they want to understand the variables from a scientific perspective in a way, and they don't want to be involved in it. There's more reasons, but this is kind of a metaphorical description that is way too detailed to be a metaphor of how INTPs observe things. But the reason why INTJs are so detached from things is because they don't care about the variables themselves, really. And I think that's an interesting difference to point out. And here is my channel, and here's the subscribe button, and you can click on them because amazing videos about everything else, including MBTI, are going to be coming out. I'm a commentary channel. I do this. Plus, I have done some videos one where we remade France, disgusting, I know. Another one where we trolled a bunch of old people on Facebook, on other channel. I collabed with them. So go check them out. And don't forget to subscribe, because if you don't, well, it's gonna be really bad. That's all I'm gonna tell you. Peace out. Peace out. Peace out. Play this shit.
I'm like, oh shit, bitches drop on me like it's a motherfucking ocean. Call me Schoenberg, little bitch, I'm on my own shit. Yes, I said my own shit, cause I'm getting fucked up by Germany like Schoenberg. I guess I was too minutes with her nudes. Showed me her legs once, now she got an attitude, huh? Rude, she should show.